Hello students, today we are going to start a very important concept, that is three-dimensional geometry. So we'll be introducing you to the concept of 3D. By now you all know how to find a position of a point in a plane, or let's start from the very beginning. That towards the beginning you were told how to find only points lying on a number line with respect to a fixed point. So we could find the position of any point lying on this number line, either on the right or on the left of 0. All the points which were on the right of 0 we called them positive, whereas those which were on the left of 0 we called them negative. And accordingly, so distance wise 1 and minus 1 are equidistant from point 0, but the sign associated with this tells us that 1 is on the right of 0, whereas minus 1 is on the left of 0. Same way with 2 and minus 2. We know that 2 and minus 2 both are at the same distance from the fixed point 0. But the positive sign associated with it tells us that 2 is on the right side of 0 on the number line, whereas minus 2 is on the left side of on the number line, left side of 0. Okay, now same way if we consider any point on a plane, so any plane can be divided into two directions, x and y. Any point on the xy plane can be clearly identified if its position is known with respect to two fixed axes, which we called as the xy plane. Now how do we identify the position of a point on the xy plane? We call it x comma y, and what is x? Its position. Now so if you drop a perpendicular from this point on the x axis and you drop a perpendicular from this point on the y axis, the portion cut off on the x axis by the foot of the perpendicular, this, or you could say the foot of the perpendicular cuts off an intercept equal to the x coordinate of this point, whereas the foot of the perpendicular from P onto the y axis cuts off an intercept which is called as y coordinate. So the position of P is clearly known if we know its distance above the x-axis and on the right of the y-axis. So this portion which it has along the x-axis, means along a direction parallel to the x-axis, is called as the x-coordinate, whereas the portion or the distance which we have to cover above the x-axis, means parallel to the y-axis, is called as the y coordinate. And if we know both these x and y coordinates, that is if we know the position of this point with respect to two fixed directions, x axis and y axis, then we know this point uniquely. Now the same way if you extend this concept further, so this is on a plane, this is on a number line, means in a direction, means it along a x direction. This is the position of a point on a plane. Now same way if we have anything which is given to us in space, like suppose we have a pen which I have, or let me hold on to a small thing, it's a packet which I have, it is a thing in space. If I know its direction from three fixed directions, or the distance from three fixed directions, like if I'm holding on to this, how high it is from the floor, how high, how much it is in front of the wall which is facing me, and how much it is on the right of the wall which is on the left of me. So we need its position with respect to three directions to be able to uniquely identify them. And these three are mutually perpendicular directions. Okay, and what do we mean by mutually perpendicular? We mean, the three mutually perpendicular directions, x, y and z. So as against the directions on a plane, we have one more direction which is the z direction in space. So to be able to identify the position of any point in space, we need its position with respect to three mutually perpendicular directions, where by mutually perpendicular we mean x is perpendicular to y, y is perpendicular to z, and z is perpendicular to x. Now we can consider we write it as like on a two-dimensional space plane. We can show these three mutually perpendicular direction in this manner. Okay, two directions are perpendicular to each other, and this is the third direction which we have to assume that it is perpendicular. So we can just visualize it like this is, these are the, with respect to the corner of a room, we can see that if suppose this is the floor, okay, and this is one corner of a room, this is one wall and this is another wall. If you just visualize any corner of your room, this is the floor, this is one wall, this is one wall. These are three mutually perpendicular directions. Now again, there is a slight change in the way we write the directions. As against using the x-axis as the horizontal one and the y-axis as the vertical one, what we do is we write this direction. This is a standard practice which we make, that is, this direction we write as x-axis, this direction we write as y-axis, and this direction we write as z-axis. Now the plane, now these are actually combinations of three planes. One plane which has which is bounded by the x-axis, and these are the axes. Okay, so x-axis, y-axis, and this is the z-axis. So the plane which is bounded by the x and the y-axis is called as the xy plane. The plane which is bounded by the y-axis and the z-axis is called as the yz plane, and we always move in the anti-clockwise direction. So xy plane, this is the yz plane, and the plane which is bounded by the z-axis and the x-axis is called as the zx plane. In some of the books it is also mentioned as xz plane, but we prefer taking it as or calling it as the zx plane. So we have, so that we are proceeding in a cyclic manner in the anti-clockwise direction. From x to y is the xy plane, y to z, yz plane, z back to x is the zx plane. Okay, so these are the three planes which you can visualize as seeing the wall or the room. Okay, the floor of your room is xy, suppose we call this as the xy plane, and one if you just see one of the corners, wall 1 would be the yz plane, and wall 2 which is adjacent to the wall 1, having one end as the floor and one end as the wall 1, would be called as the zx plane. Right, now again, so this is one thing which you have to see. Another thing is that the axis, the common axis which segregates the xy plane and the zx plane, the common thing is what? x is called as the x-axis. Here if you just see the floor and the wall 1, this is the xy plane and the yz plane. So the common thing is y, and so the common line is called as the y-axis. On the same lines, these two walls, this is the yz plane and the zx plane. So the common thing between the two is the z coordinate, and so here the z-axis is the line dividing the yz and the zx plane. Now let's see another thing. Now anything, so this is the these are the axes and these are the planes. Okay, now the same way as we have done the plane in any two-dimensional planes, if you have on the right axis the positive x-axis, on the exactly you just extend the straight line to the opposite direction, this becomes the minus x-axis. Same way, if this is the positive y-axis, you extend it along the straight line in the opposite direction, this becomes the minus y-axis. Same way here also, this can be extended in this direction and it becomes the negative x-axis. This can be extended in this direction, it will become minus y-axis, and this can be extended in this direction, it will become minus z-axis. Okay, this is one thing. Now I'll just quickly show one more thing to you. Now if I have a small paper like this which represents a plane to me, okay, if this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis, this one will be minus x-axis, this one will be minus y-axis. This is the origin. If I just insert the pen through and through this paper, if I insert this pen, so what do you observe? This line which is exactly perpendicular. So we are inserting a pen in the direction which is perpendicular to the direction of this plane of paper. Okay, so this is called as the z-axis. As you can clearly see, these two are perpendicular directions and this is another direction. This pen is perpendicular to the plane of the paper, so will be perpendicular to both x-axis as well as y-axis. So if facing us, if this pen comes towards us, this direction is positive z-axis. The direction which goes into the plane of paper, which is this direction, will be negative z-axis. Another thing, if you just see, if you just extend this is a plane, this is a plane. So this divides, the z-axis divides the plane of the paper, the whole space. See, the plane of the paper divides the space into two parts. One is towards me and the other one is away from me. The portion which is towards me is the positive z direction. The portion which is away from me is the negative direction. Now this direction, if you complete these planes, it will divide, just as the two dimensions x and y axis, they convert or they divide a plane of a paper into 4 quadrants. The z axis, x and y axis together with the z axis, it divides the plane of the paper into, the space into 8 cubicles, small cubicle, one cubicle here which has these 3D figure, here is another cubicle, here is another one, here is another one, and same way 4 cubicles at the back. So 8 cubicles called as octants. Okay, so what do we have? Just as we have this one, what do you call, the x-axis, the xy plane, in the xy plane, x and y axis, okay, they divide the plane into 4 quadrants. Similarly, the XYZ, that is 3D, three-dimensional space, is the XY and Z axis. They divide the space into 8 cubicles called octants. Okay, so there are 8 octants. Now, so what we do is, so 4 octants facing, above one plane, and 4 octants just below that plane. Okay, so what we do is, the coordinates, the sign of any point, as we have seen that we have to see the position of any point in a 3D space. So what we do is, now we take a 3D space, something like this. This is the x axis, this is the y axis, and this is the z axis. Let us consider P as any point in space now. So P is any point in space, so it will have 3 directions, x, y and z, or 3 coordinates. Where? What is x, y and z? As we know, if you drop a perpendicular to the x axis, this portion cut off, let's say it is A, the foot of the perpendicular, when you drop from P onto the x axis, then this portion OA is the x coordinate. When you drop a perpendicular to the y axis, then this portion is called as the y coordinate. Let's call it point B. And when you drop a perpendicular from P onto z axis, this portion is called as the z coordinate. Well, let's call it C. So what is it? So given any point in space, it has 3 coordinates, x, y, z, where x, y, z are obtained as under. So how do we obtain these x, y, z? Now, x coordinate. If we drop a perpendicular PA on x axis, then the distance cut off by POA, then the distance OA cut off by the foot of the perpendicular on the x axis is the x coordinate of P. Similarly, what is the y coordinate? Is the distance OB, which is cut off on the y axis by the foot of the perpendicular from P onto y axis. Same way, the z coordinate is the distance OC, which is cut off on the z axis by the foot of perpendicular from P onto the z axis. So this way we are able to identify x, y and z. So clearly now any point in space can have 3 coordinates, x, y and z. Now how do we identify? Now how to identify the octant to which the point belongs? Okay, so this will be given by the sign associated with it. Okay, so what we have is, we have x coordinate, y coordinate and z coordinate. Okay, then we have the 8 octants as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Now any point which is, now what is the now again let's see this figure. Okay, this is the x axis, this is the first quadrant, this is the second, this is the third and this is the fourth quadrant. Now behind this, just behind the first quadrant we have the fifth quadrant, behind the second we have the sixth quadrant, behind the third we have the seventh quadrant and behind the fourth we have the eighth quadrant. Now the x and y coordinates for each of these would be the same as the first, second, third and fourth. Means the x and y coordinates, whatever we have for the first quadrant, the same is shared with the fifth quadrant. Similarly, the x and y coordinates for the second and the sixth coordinate octants are the same. Similarly, the x and y coordinates for the third and the seventh octants are the same. Same means same, have the same sign. Same way, the x and y coordinates for the fourth and the eighth octants are the same. Now, so what do? Let's write this. We have for the first octant, okay, the x coordinate is the same as the first quadrant, so positive and positive, so that will be the same as the fifth one. Now second quadrant, we know x is negative and y is positive, and so the same way we have for the second octant also, that x is negative and y is positive. Now here we have same way for sixth, which is behind the second one, x is negative, y is positive. Now we come to the third quadrant. In the third quadrant we have x negative, y negative, so is the value for third octant. For the seventh octant, since it is behind the third one, the x will be negative, y would be negative. Now we have the fourth octant. Now since in the fourth quadrant we have x is positive, y is negative, so for the fourth octant also x is positive, y is negative, and for the eighth octant also, since it is behind the fourth octant, the x coordinate would be positive, y would be negative. Now how to decide the sign associated with the for z in each of the octants? The first 4 octants, okay, which face us while we write it on the paper, we will have first 4 octants will have z positive, and for the remaining 4 octants for which the z axis is pointing inwards, will have the z coordinate as negative. So we can clearly identify any point which has all these 3 positive, like for example let's say 1, 2, 3, it will lie in the first octant. Similarly, a point a point which is which has this negative, then positive, positive. So let's say -1, 2, 3 will lie in the second octant. Then the third octant, the x coordinate, the y coordinate would be negative, but the z would be positive. This is the third octant. Then same way, for the fourth octant, we have x positive, y negative, and z positive. Fourth octant. Now to identify the point in the fifth octant, we should have for x and y positive and z negative. So this is a point lying in the fifth octant. Then for the sixth octant, we should have x negative, y positive, and z again negative. This will lie in the sixth octant. And for the seventh one and the eighth one, now what do we have? Seventh one, we have both x and y negative, and z is also negative. All three negative will lie in the seventh octant, whereas x positive and y and z negative will lie in the eighth octant. So looking at this, so this table will help us decide. So the above table helps us decide the octants to which a point in space belongs. Now one last thing which we have to consider, that is a point. Now let's see this figure. So actually let's draw a figure quickly, a 3D figure. Now in this, we know this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis, this is the z-axis, this is the origin. Any point lying, this is the xy plane, this is the yz plane, this is the zx plane, also called as xz plane sometimes. Okay, now here, as we have seen, now any point lying in the xy plane, here the z axis is 0. So we have, it is of the kind x, y, 0. Here any point lying on the yz plane will have there is no x coordinate, so we have, it is of the kind 0, y, z. Any point lying on the zx plane doesn't have the y coordinate, so it is of the kind x, 0, z. Any point lying on the x-axis doesn't have the y and the z coordinates, so any point lying on the z-axis would be x, 0, 0. Any point lying on the y-axis doesn't have the x and z coordinates, so you have 0, y, 0. And any point lying on the z-axis doesn't have the x and y coordinates and is of the kind 0, 0, z. So this is a thing, just by looking at this table you can decide any point in space, whereas just going just observing these things carefully, as to which coordinate is 0, which is not, we can clearly identify whether a point lies on any of the axis or on any of the planes. Thank you.